Hey there, fellow fateless, those without fate. I'm Kato Genesis, and the re-reckoning is upon us. That is Kingdoms of Amalur re-reckoning, and I've put together some tips and tricks for new and old players alike. If you have tips of your own to share that aren't in this video, please share down below. And now, here are this many things I wish I knew when I first began playing Kingdoms of Amalur re-reckoning. There is a wonderful variety of weapons to choose from when you're playing Kingdoms of Amalur, and it's not limited to your character's build, just your level. So you can switch weapons out on the fly. With each of these weapons that has a combo, once a weapon's combo reaches its end, it's locked in for that final massive hit, and blocking and dodging can't be used. There is a way to cancel out of combos though with your spells and abilities, and that's simply by casting them, which might give you a better window once your final hit connects to get out of the way of the enemy's following attack. Time this right and you can give yourself continuous combos until you're out of mana. I recommend the Shadow Flare Finesse ability for this because its first hit is quicker than anything else early in the game. Blocking and dodging are both important. Some enemies might prove to be a lot tougher if you do only one of these things. Dodging is good at getting out of the way, obviously, or getting closer to your targets, while blocking is more reliant on enemy telegraphing and rewards proper timing. If you're not quite comfortable with blocking yet, wolves are a great starting point because they telegraph clearly with a howl before they strike. The Special Deliveries chest in Gorehart, the first town you enter, contains all of the original game's pre-order and crossover bundle items that we all just get by default with re-reckoning, and more stuff is awesome. Don't feel guilty using this gear because you'll be picking up items that are stronger after a few levels. That's just the nature of the game. Using what you need and selling what you don't is what I recommend here, because while most of these items are valued at 0 gold, some others can be sold for roughly 700 each. There are 2 useful miscellaneous items that you will find in the delivery chest as well, and that is the Dowsing Rod and the Compass of Fate. The Dowsing Rod reveals herbs on your map and mini-map. If you're going with alchemy, this will help you find reagents faster. The Compass of Fate, on the other hand, simply raises your character's persuasion skill by 1 while it's in your inventory. I never recalled having these items before and was curious of their effects myself. Worth keeping both, especially if you have grand plans related to alchemy, or grand plants. Yes. As soon as you've left the tower at the beginning of the game and met up with Agarth the Fate Weaver, you'll gain the option to reset your skills and abilities for a modest fee through him, and any other Fate Weaver. Throughout the tutorial, you've had 1 point in each of the ability trees. If you unbind your destiny right then, these 3 ability points will be refunded too. If you're not going for a Universalist build, you'll be getting at least 1 extra ability point by using a Fate Weaver's services early. Your inventory is limited by slots rather than weight, and it starts at 70 items. You can increase the capacity to 80 though if you purchase the backpack from the Gorehart General Goods Store. You'll find other merchants in the world that sell backpacks too for a one-time 10 item capacity bonus, so keep an eye out. When learning about the bags and item limits, I also wanted to know which items take up inventory space and which don't. So here's a rule of thumb. Crafting items of any kind do not take up inventory space. The things that do take up space are weapons, armor, accessories, consumables, notes, and books. In terms of item stacks too, a new stack will take up a slot as well. So if you've surpassed 10 of one type of potion, the new stack will take up a new inventory slot. Unfortunately, this also counts for items that are stolen. At one point I had 1 Prismere pick and 1 stolen Prismere pick. They took up 2 slots instead of stacking. Most of these you'll want to keep tabs on, but while you're looting something you can just send things directly to junk if you know you're going to want to sell them. But in the early game it's good to be mindful of what potions you find yourself using the most and selling the rest to free up spaces for other loot. If you like loot, Detect Hidden is one of the best skills in the game. The default benefit to Detect Hidden will grant the player more gold from the world when looting just about anything. But that is just the beginning. Each rank reveals something new on your map. First enemies, then hidden treasures, then enemy facing, and more. It starts getting real fun once you reach rank 5 because you'll be able to detect hidden passages and doorways too, which lead to more treasures of course, and even alternative routes. The Reckoning mode finishers are both an awesome spectacle of your character's godlike powers and a way to get a huge amount of experience if the button prompt is mashed enough times. There's one trick I learned, and it's that you can use the items from your radial while in Reckoning mode. This will both pause it long enough for you to be able to tell what button to mash and give you the option of using an experience boosting potion to increase your experience gain even more. Any weapon, except for scepters and bows, can perform sneak attacks. However, daggers are the only ones with the cool animations per enemy. So if you are going for more spectacle and one-shottiness as the finesse build, you may want to keep daggers as a part of your loadout. With Re-Reckoning comes the new and improved enemy scaling system. It's no longer locked when you enter an area, and instead adjusts each time you enter, and Re-Reckoning comes with the new very hard difficulty. With these new additions, repairing via repair kits becomes more important since you'll be using your weapons a lot more. With this in mind, if you're going to be playing on hard mode or higher difficulties, a couple of points in the blacksmithing skill will ensure that you get the most out of your repair kits. You can repair your equipment to full through blacksmith NPCs you find, represented by the hammer symbol on your minimap, but early on it costs way more gold than you'll want to spend. So if you are repairing manually with repair kits, it's usually a good idea to wait on repairs until an item's durability is in the single digits. Who knows when you're going to find a piece of gear that outclasses what you're repairing, and no one wants to waste repair kits. Some chests you locate will have a purple aura around them, which indicates that they have a ward that must be dispelled or triggered first in order to access the goods. Dispelling is the skill that governs the difficulty of getting past these wards, and at any time you can just commit to setting off the ward anyway, but be warned, these wards can sometimes do enough damage to outright kill your character, or hit you with a gnarly curse if you manage to survive. If you do happen to get cursed, you can check what the effects are in the status menu, and if it's a particular weakness to the enemies you're fighting, like having a lightning curse when fighting Etten shamans, which have lightning attacks, it might be a good idea to head back to town and find a healer first. Don't forget to loot the chest though. Without fail, I always seem to forget that lore stones found around Amalur don't only give some story and experience, but also, if all are collected, a permanent buff. Lore stones are something you can look at in your status menu to see if there's particular ones you'll want to go for before heading on to the next area, or to know ahead of time. Stealing odds display opposite of what you might be used to. In a game like Skyrim, the percentage shown would be the chance to successfully steal. In Amalur, the percentage is flipped and is instead the chance of being caught. So 0% is what you're going for, not 100%. If you've yet to join up with the Travelers too, Amalur's thief faction, only focus on stealing gold and crafting materials. Anything else will just take up inventory space until you can access fences through the Travelers. There are some armor sets and gems that you can sagecraft, which raise multiple tiers of abilities on one or all of the ability trees. So say you have a gem socketed into your gear that raises all first 2 rows of might skills by 1. Even if the might skills that are being raised are maxed out, they will surpass that cap if you're using an item like this, meaning that ability points are not wasted in this case. Yes, you only get stronger. And now, Fateless Ones, I'd like to ask you what you've learned while playing through Re-Reckoning, and leave those tips below because I love seeing the community help each other out. If you found this video entertaining and useful for both, please do whatever it is you see fit to show that. Supporting me on Patreon is one of those things, and helps keep the channel going. If you pledge support for as little as $1, you get access to monthly updates that involve my face and embarrassing stories, and the additional perk of being in the video credits too. Speaking of, thank you to my patrons, thank you to Wasteland Legend Sven, thank you for watching. I'm Kato Genesis, and may you wander Amalur like you own it.